American Love Story did not just revive mainstream interest in Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy, it exposed why fashion feels dead now. In this video, I'm talking about what CBK represents, what the culture keeps getting wrong, and why it matters. Chapter 1: The Machine Kills the Magic. Fashion feels dead because nobody's home anymore. Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy is the proof. There's a photograph of her walking in New York, black turtleneck, Levi's 517, sandals, nothing the machine could easily package. And yet, the image stops you because what you're responding to is not the clothes. It is her, the complete absence of performance. She was not dressing for the photograph. She was simply dressed. And that is the difference between a woman who dresses for herself and a woman who dresses for the audience. And it is a difference you can feel immediately. That is exactly what was missing when American Love Story made Carolyn trending again. Within days, social media was full of women dressed up as Carolyn who looked like they were costuming an idea rather than living a life. They had copied everything visible and missed everything that mattered. The clothes were right, but nobody was home. And this is why fashion feels dead now, because the machine taught an entire generation to start with the clothes and hope the woman would follow. But she doesn't. She never did. 5 years as arguably the most photographed woman in America, and Carolyn never dressed for the audience. She dressed for herself. And that's not a style tip, it's a standard. And this matters more after 40 than at any other point in your life, because by now you have enough history with your wardrobe to know the difference. You have bought the thing that looked right and felt wrong. And you have worn something unremarkable that made you feel completely yourself. I mean, the clothes matter, of course they do. The right fabric, the right silhouette, the right proportion can change how you carry yourself entirely. But they are in service of something. They are not the source. And after 40, the question is not only what to wear, it is who is wearing it. When we get that answer right, the wardrobe finally starts working. And when we get it wrong, no amount of correct pieces will save us. Hi, I'm Bridget Fisher, and we're here to prove something radical. After 40, age is your style advantage, not an obstacle. I cut through the noise with German honesty. Welcome to the Aura Club. Chapter 2, Carolyn was the opposite of content. And this is exactly why Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy is such a powerful case study. Not because she wore a certain coat or a certain bag, but because she represented the opposite of everything the machine now rewards. She had privacy, not as a passive quality, but as an active, deliberate choice. In 5 years of intense public attention, there are only 2 surviving on-camera moments of Carolyn speaking to the press. And that's not 2 interviews, that's 2 brief exchanges. So no cultivated press relationship, no managed narrative. The tabloids were left with photographs and speculation because she gave them nothing else to work with. And the silence was not shyness, it was a strategy applied consistently under the most intense media pressure an American civilian had experienced since Jackie Kennedy. That is why she feels so powerful, not because she was an aesthetic, but because she had aura. And the machine hates aura, because aura cannot be mass produced. And this reveals something critically important for women over 40. Your most powerful style will not come from producing more noise. It comes from becoming more rooted in your own standards. So if a woman inspires you, do not start with how do I copy her? Start with what's the logic here? What does she repeat? What does she avoid? What belongs to her territory? And what would never belong there? The machine wants you to imitate the outline. I want you to understand the logic. That is how real taste develops. Chapter 3, The Audacity of American Love Story. I want to be honest with you about something. I did not watch American Love Story, and it was a deliberate choice. Part of me wanted to, because I would have loved to see the fashion, the 90s New York atmosphere, this whole world, but I kept coming back to one thing. Carolyn would have hated this show. She was a woman who refused every magazine cover, who never gave the culture more than it absolutely had to have, who made JFK Jr. plead with photographers outside their Tribeca apartment just to give her basic dignity as she adjusted to public life. She guarded her privacy with extraordinary consistency under extraordinary pressure. And now a television series dramatizing her marriage, her grief, her private arguments, her death for mass entertainment would have appalled her. And that was enough for me to opt out. But let's talk about what Ryan Murphy actually produced. Jack Schlossberg, JFK Jr.'s nephew, went on CBS Sunday Morning and said something that has stayed with me. Listen to this.
You're not happy about this Ryan Murphy series about your Uncle John and his wife, Carolyn Bessette.
Well, if you want to know someone who's never met anyone in my family, knows nothing about us, talk to Ryan Murphy. I would just want people who do watch the show to watch it with one letter in mind, and that's a capital F for fiction. The guy knows nothing about what he's talking about, and he's making a ton of money on a grotesque display of someone else's life.
Ryan Murphy made millions from a show about a woman who valued her privacy above all else. But because the machine cares more about the moment than the woman, they couldn't even get her wardrobe right. When the early production images were released, the reaction was immediate and it was brutal. The coat looked so off. The Birkin was the wrong size, the hair was the wrong blonde, and Murphy later said that those were camera test images, pieces thrown on quickly for lighting checks. Well, maybe, but here's my honest reading of that moment. They did not fully understand how seriously people take her wardrobe. Her wardrobe is the most documented thing about her. It's photographed, it's studied, and the black turtleneck and Levi's are not obscure references. The Prada coat she repeated across years of public appearances is not difficult to source, so there's no excuse for approximate. Most style advice for women over 40 is still built on the same tired logic. Accentuate your waist so you look slimmer, dress younger if you want to stay relevant, and reduce your wardrobe to a minimalist capsule if you want to be taken seriously. That is not style, it is bad programming. The Aura Club exists to help women build real style autonomy. And if you are just starting out, begin with Style After 40. It helps you let go of bad programming, understand what changes with age and what gets better, and make clearer, more confident choices about your wardrobe. And if you're ready for the next step, the Core Style Guide gives you a complete wardrobe system. It helps you find your style territory, shop with more confidence, stop impulse buying, and build a wardrobe that works every single day. The basics checklists add an extra practical layer and help you apply that thinking to the season you're dressing for. And if you want my personal eyes on your wardrobe, you can book the Aura Audit. It's a private, personal way to see what belongs, what doesn't, and what will make your wardrobe feel more like you again. You'll answer the questionnaire, share a few photos, and I will personally come back to you within 87 weekday hours. And if you buy any 2 items from the Aura Club, the Wishlist Planner will be added for free at checkout. No code needed. it's my gift to you. Chapter 4, that fashion versus living style. So let's define the difference because I think this helps enormously. That fashion is reactive, it's over-explained, it's trend-led, and it's hungry for validation. It often looks polished, but somehow lifeless. You can feel the performance. It is, in short, exactly what the TikTok Carolyn trend produced. A woman in a turtleneck and bootcut jeans who looks like she's costuming an idea rather than living a life. And living style is so different. It's edited, it is repeated, and it has memory. And most importantly, it is connected to a real life. If you are cultivating aura, you stop asking whether the look is getting enough external validation and start asking whether it actually belongs to you. Does it belong to your territory? Does it help your face, your posture, your authority come forward? And this matters even more after 40 because this should be the age where a woman's style gets more alive, not less, and where you trust repetition more, not novelty and trends, and where you can sense when something is trying too hard. You are now less seduced by fashion theater and more interested in a real point of view. Small note, I'm often asked about the specific pieces I like, so I've linked some of my favorites below. I'm not here to push products, but I'm always happy to share good pieces when they are worth sharing. Chapter 5, build a slower eye. Here's something I've never explained before, but it's probably the most important thing I do. I'm very careful with my eye. I rarely watch new shows. I'm selective about the music I listen to, the books I read, the films I watch, and who I follow. I've been doing this deliberately for years and years, and it's not accidental, it's a practice. Because what you expose your eye to shapes what your eye recognizes as beautiful. And if you're constantly feeding it the current moment, the current obsession, and the current woman the algorithm has decided matters for you, your eye learns to respond to it. I've spent most of my visual life looking at vintage, like vintage films, vintage fashion, the way women dressed when they were dressing for their lives rather than for content. And it's not nostalgia, it's calibration. It's part of why I ran a vintage shop for a decade, part of why I moved to London. The eye I have now is the result of what I chose to feed it and what I chose to protect it from as well. And this is what I mean when I say build a slower eye. There are two things a slower eye protects you from. The first is imitation. Carolyn can be a genuinely useful reference if she belongs to your territory. An effortlessly timeless woman can absolutely study her for what quiet authority looks like. But that means studying the actual photographs, the actual repetition, the actual logic across years, not watching a drama and buying the turtleneck. And secondly, a slower eye protects you from territory drift. Every hot cultural moment is an invitation to drift, and that is how you protect your judgment, with a well-fed eye that knows the difference. And if you want to avoid the fashion industry confusing you into buying things you'll regret, I'll show you 14 small habits in this video here. And always remember, confidence looks good on you.